I'm going to tell you right now. This is from her father. Your bunch of lying no good punks, and I know who it's coming from because I've traced it, and you've been reported to cyber police because I've traced it. Consequences will never be the same because I've traced it, and you've been reported to cyber police because I've traced it. You'll be arrested. End of conversation. Well, guess what? My daughter's not lying, and I'm not going to put up with any of you people's crap. If you ain't got something nice to say about my daughter, then keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. And any more of your comments that put it on there will be caught and will be bound. You will have to deal with the police, cause you done goof. Cause you done goof. Because I've traced it, and you've been reported to the cyber police because I've traced it. Consequences will never be the same because I've traced it, and you've been reported to the cyber police because I've traced it. You'll be arrested. End of conversation.
What up, y'all?
People on Medicare are now eligible for a $1,200 grocery card. If you want the $1,200 grocery allowance card usable at major retailers, you should call now. If you are not aware, there is an upgrade designed to help people on Medicare with groceries and health-related costs.
As you may know, saving money on healthcare is important, especially for people on Medicare. You can now qualify for a $1,200 grocery card usable at major chains by calling 1-877-394-0014. Not everyone will qualify, and this offer will not last. If you receive Medicare, you should check if you qualify. It's free to check if you're eligible. If you qualify, a spending allowance card will be mailed to you. The sign-up period for the $1,200 grocery card is now open. Do not miss the opportunity to apply. This card has been a game changer in helping people stretch their budget. There's no risk to applying, and it won't affect your current Medicare benefits.
People are thrilled with their grocery card. Imagine the relief of picking out what you need and not stressing over the price at checkout. But don't delay, it won't last. Call 1-877-394-0014 now. A licensed agent will guide you through getting your $1,200 grocery card. Call and speak with a licensed insurance agent today who can help you qualify. There's no obligation to enroll, and the offer won't last. Call 1-877-394-0014. That's 1-877-394-0014.
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
You've no doubt heard of a near-death experience where someone embraced by the light has a premature glimpse of heaven. Tonight, meet a man who says his near-death experience took him on a tortuous journey to the depths of hell and changed his life forever. Rushing home after the birth of his first child, Steve Newton hit a wet patch of road. Then along came an unknown Good Samaritan. where Stephanie Booker and two friends, a moonlight cruise on a lake in Texas, ended in a horrifying collision. Stephanie's physical scars had begun to heal. The man who nearly killed her is still at large. He was a convicted bank robber. She was an elementary school teacher who helped him escape from prison. See how one of our viewers helped track them down. If you're a woman traveling alone, beware of this man. Police say he offers a helping hand on the highway as a prelude to kidnapping and murder. Join me for these intriguing cases. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery. Sometimes the incredible occurs when you least expect it. Just ask Howard Storm. In the summer of 1985, Howard spent 3 weeks touring Europe with his wife Beverly. In Paris, their last day abroad, disaster struck. The curtain was drawn on a profound drama that would take Howard to the brink of death, launch him on a frightening journey to the afterlife.
I thought I'd been shot. And it was the most searing, excruciating pain in the center of my abdomen. I was just panicked, full of fear. I couldn't think at all. The doctor that came to the hotel, the two doctors that examined me in the emergency room at the hospital, all said the same thing. That this was a very critical situation, and that if I didn't have the surgery within an hour, I would die.
Howard's small intestine had ruptured. He was transferred to another hospital where the staff spoke only French. Now there were problems finding a surgeon.
They didn't give me any medication whatsoever, no treatment whatsoever, and I was beginning to fear that I wasn't going to make it after a few hours. After 6 or 7 hours, I had a very strong feeling that I wasn't going to make it, and after 10 hours, I knew I was. When I said to my wife, "It's time for us to say goodbye."
When Howard lapsed into unconsciousness, it seemed like the end, very near. In fact, Howard's story was just beginning. He was about to embark on what is commonly referred to as a near-death experience. Thousands of people have described such episodes as warm and comforting, even heaven. Howard Storm, on the other hand, believes his near-death experience took him straight to the depths of hell. What makes this story even more remarkable is that at the time Howard was an avowed atheist who believed in nothing. Not God, not heaven, and certainly not hell. By his own admission, Howard Storm was a man with a dark side. An accomplished artist turned professor, Howard commanded everyone around him with angry passion.
My wife and my children feared me. Sometimes I was fun, sometimes I was good, but I also used a lot of threats. I used a lot of rage. I used a lot of coercion to get my way. That was the bottom line all the time, was to get my way, my will to prevail.
Now that person lay in a Paris hospital. As he slipped closer to death, Howard Storm says he took the first step on a journey that was nothing short of terrifying.
I looked at the bed and I saw myself lying in it. I was horrified because I knew that that's not possible. because I didn't believe in life after death, I didn't believe in God, I didn't believe in heaven. I mean, I really didn't believe it. It's me. I heard people calling me from outside the room and they were saying, Howard, hurry up, you gotta come with us. It's time.
Don't come with us. It's time. Come with me.
I assumed that they must be hospital personnel come to take me and have a surgery. Where's my doctor? And they didn't deny it, although they didn't confirm it either.
So you're waiting.
As I walked with these people, I became increasingly aware that something was very wrong. Everybody wants to help me.
Be quiet.
And these people were getting more and more aggressive and cruel to me.
Don't stop. We have to move along.
All I wanted to do now was to get away from them. It was getting darker and darker. They kept leading me on, sitting in a circle around me, and there was really no way to escape from them. Well, they were scratching, and pushing, and pulling at me, and began biting at me. So I was starting to yell and scream and howl with pain, and they thought that was real funny. And they really liked that a lot. And the more that they did, the better they liked it.
People on Medicare are now eligible for a $1,200 grocery card. If you want the $1,200 grocery allowance card usable at major retailers, you should call now. If you are not aware, there is an upgrade designed to help people on Medicare with groceries and health-related costs.
As you may know, saving money on healthcare is important, especially for people on Medicare. You can now qualify for a $1,200 grocery card usable at major chains by calling 1-877-39-40014. Not everyone. If you receive, you should check if you qualify. To you.
It was worse and worse and worse. It totally tear me apart, not only physically, but psychologically, emotionally. That place, I've heard a voice. I said, "Pray to God." Didn't believe me. Said a second time, "Pray to God." And I tried to remember how to pray. The mention of God pushed them away from me, pushed them back and back in the darkness. I just kept at it, kept at it. It's as if it burned me. They simply retreated into the darkness and were gone. I was all alone in that place, left in my physical pain, my emotional pain, self-pity, and considering my whole life, it was sort of like, what was the point of ever living to end up like this? I never really accomplished anything very significant. Now I end up in this place of torment. Why was I ever born? In that state of like complete hopelessness, I recalled myself as a little child.
Jesus, I feel inside of Father, let me so. Let
And what was so especially powerful about it was that that child whom I had been 30 years before believed in something other than himself, believed in something greater than himself. And in that complete despair, pain, and hopelessness, a small light appeared and it got brighter and brighter and brighter. And for the first time in the light, I could see myself. It was horrible. It's like I looked like roadkill. And it was just all mangled and gore and horror. And I felt this brightness reach down and pick me up. And I was like all healed and whole and full of the most wonderful physical ecstasy. I was being carried by my new friend, this person of light. I'm aware that there's a tangible feeling of light and lovingness coming from the direction I'm moving towards. And he called a number of angels around us. And it showed me the effects that I had on other people, how I hurt other people. And I think to myself, I'm scum. I made a mistake. And then for the first time, he spoke to me. He said, "We don't make mistakes. You do belong."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't.
Howard Storm's journey to the other side was over. He says a mysterious figure instructed him to return to Earth, live with love in his heart.
I can't.
You can't.
Soon after Howard regained consciousness, a surgeon arrived. The operation saved Howard's life, not without a price. He remained hospitalized for 2 months, suffering from hepatitis, double pneumonia, collapsed lung, and minimal liver function. Howard Storm would eventually make a full recovery. He would also undergo a dramatic transformation.
The Lord be with you. Lift up your hands. Let us pray.
In 1988, Howard left teaching and attended a Methodist seminary. Today, he is pastor of Zion United Church of Christ in Southern Ohio.
Side by side. I'm thankful for the whole experience because it gave me a whole second chance at life. I feel like I died and was born again. My wife said that on that day, I died. And the person that came out of that experience was a complete stranger to her. And I feel that way. I've given new life. There's no doubt in my mind. No. I know what I experienced. I know it wasn't a dream. I know that there is a conscious existence beyond this world, outside this world. If you want to call it another dimension, or you want to call it the supernatural world, you want to call it heaven and hell, there is a life beyond this life. And we will reap the reward or suffer the consequence of what we've done with this life.
Next, a stranger's helping hand becomes a fist of death for a woman in Virginia. As children were taught never to get into a car with a stranger. Adults, we sometimes forget things, even though it's a lesson that might save your life.
Alright, tomorrow, I go negative. 495, 66, 29th Street.
On March 2nd, 1996, Alicia Showalter Reynolds said goodbye to her husband and left her home in Baltimore, Maryland. It was a Saturday, about 7:30 in the morning. Alicia planned to drive more than 150 miles to spend the day shopping with her mother in Charlottesville, Virginia. She left early, giving herself plenty of time to be at the mall by 10:30. Alicia's mother arrived on schedule, expecting her daughter at any moment. When Alicia was late, Sadie Showalter became worried.
Right about 11 o'clock, she wasn't there, and I said, "This is not like Alicia. I wonder what's going on." But I made myself wait till 11:15, and I then finally called her husband, called Mark. "Have you heard from Alicia?" "No, I've been waiting. It's over a half hour."
At that point, I said, the weather is kind of bad this morning. There's a little fog, there's a little drizzle. Could have been some slick roads. Maybe she just slowed down a little bit, or give her a little while and give me a call back.
Sadie continued to wait. An hour passed, then 2. Alicia never showed up. At 6 o'clock that evening, a Virginia state trooper found Alicia's car abandoned along a highway near Culpeper, Virginia, 50 miles from Alicia's destination. A white paper napkin had been tucked under the windshield wiper, commonly used signal of car trouble. When the car was examined, however, there were no mechanical problems.
My gut reaction immediately was that she was gone, that somebody had abducted her and taken her.
I feared the worst, but we were told by many, many folks to hope for the best.
Now we have an update on our top story tonight. As we told you, 25-year-old Alicia Reynolds disappeared this weekend. Her abandoned car was.
The next day, local news media began broadcasting reports of Alicia's disappearance. Police set up a traffic block where Alicia's car was found and tracked down witnesses who'd seen her on Route 29 the day she disappeared. At least 3 people saw Alicia talking to a clean-cut white man in a dark-colored pickup truck. The traffic block also produced witnesses who had been approached by a man fitting that exact description. Police began to realize that whatever had happened to Alicia might have been the final act in a nightmarish scenario that had been evolving for weeks.
There were approximately 20 women who came forward after Mrs. Reynolds' disappearance, who indicated that they too had been stopped along the Route 29 corridor. Most of the witnesses talked about a man who would come up behind them or beside them in a dark, small pickup truck, flashing his headlights, honking his horn, looking in any way he could to attract their attention. Most of the women did have some concern for their vehicle, did manage to pull off to the side of the road. He immediately jumps underneath the vehicle, conducts an examination, comes out and then engages them in a conversation, very polite conversation, about the mechanical difficulties that he has allegedly uncovered.
At that point, the helpful stranger usually offered to drive the woman to the nearest phone.
There's a phone right inside.
Okay, great.
In at least 2 cases, the women accepted and came to no harm.
Bye.
Other women found the stranger to be anything but kind and courteous.
Some of the women would not pull over for him, but merely went to the next exit or to their destination and had someone else look at their vehicle. The only instances where we have found that the individual became agitated were those instances where women either refused his assistance or refused to pull over for him. In those instances, there was a display of anger by him, such as pounding his fist on the steering wheel or murmuring things under his breath.
Looking at all of the stops, I think we pretty much all agree that he was getting his courage up, if you will, and was practicing, getting comfortable in what he was doing with stopping these ladies until he found someone that trusted him enough for him to carry forward what he intended to do.
1 week before Alicia Reynolds disappeared, a woman driving through a neighboring county apparently fell for the same ploy.
I didn't mean to scare you, but there's something wrong with your car. The sparks come out of the back of your car.
Sparks?
Yes, sparks. So there's a gas station about a mile up the road. If you want me to give you a lift up there, I'll be happy to help you out.
She said from the first moment she met him, he was soft-spoken. She seemed to be trustworthy. She had no problem with him at all. And she knew she needed a ride home. She didn't know how to get home, so she accepted the ride.
You're taking me to the gas station. I don't know where I would go.
Hey, no problem. Glad to help out.
Why are we slowing down?
She can't see anything on his windshield.
Going along the road, he would slow down and he would make an excuse that there was bright lights behind him or he couldn't see because of the vehicle. And he'd pull off the road. He did this 3 times. We believe that he was trying to establish a place to do something.
If I just take me to a phone, I can just make a phone call.
And she's been very frightened. She fought him, and he decided he didn't want to fight with her, so he pushed her away. When he pushed her out, he took off, and the shoulder belt was still caught on her arm.
The woman took her in, but she got away. 7 days later, Alicia Reynolds would not be so fortunate. For 2 months, the search for Alicia proved fruitless. Then on May 7th, 1996, a passerby found her body in a wooded area 15 miles southeast of Culpeper. Alicia had been murdered, probably on the day she disappeared.
I think that's really my main concern for the capture of the guy is so that I don't want to hear about another husband who lost his wife or another father or mother who lost their daughter. That's too much.
The stalker may have begun his rehearsals in February of 1996. He apparently stopped operating in the Culpeper area and shortly after Alicia was abducted on March 2nd. No contacts have been reported since.
There's a likelihood that the individual has fled this area, possibly the state, and maybe in another community now, where he may be preparing to start the same type of behavior again.
This entire incident was based upon the perpetrator having a fantasy and then living this fantasy in his mind over and over and over, and then going out and living it with a real person. Get a little closer, and they should become. She got in the car with him. There will be another in his car again.
Football.
When a motorcyclist loses control of his bike, his accident is averted thanks to an unknown good Samaritan. Also, an escaped convict and his wife are finally in custody after 11 years on the run. This quiet neighborhood in St. Paul, Minnesota is a quintessential American community. Tree-lined streets, quaint churches, cozy homes. The kind of place where everyone knows their neighbor, or so they think. For 8 years, Thomas Leo Langstone and his wife lived in a small, nondescript bungalow. No one ever suspected that Langstone was in fact Richard Cepolonis, an escaped convict with a long criminal record. In 1973, Cepolonis and two accomplices robbed a bank in New Bern, Massachusetts, and made off with more than $17,000 in cash. In fleeing, they almost killed an innocent bystander. Cepolonis was convicted of bank robbery and armed assault. His sentence, 58 to 82 years in prison. Then he met Karen Wilkins. Karen was an aspiring teacher whose class assignment involved writing letters to inmates. Eventually, she visited Richard, and the relationship intensified.
Oh, it was fine. Thank you.
For Karen, it was love. For Cepolonis, it may have been something different, perhaps nothing more than a means to an end.
A typical inmate in prison, I find, takes advantage of people out in the community. Oftentimes they'll latch on to women who are lonely, want some attention, and they take advantage of them. think the women are beguiled by all that attention.
Richard and Karen Walters married in the prison chapel. Several months later, Sepulveda's escaped. 11 years later, anyone knew where Richard Sepulveda and Karen Walters were hiding. Let's go to Keely Shea Smith to find out what happened.
After a recent broadcast, the viewer in Minneapolis who had done business with the couple recognized Karen's photograph. A task force, which included the local police and FBI, was mobilized, and the house was staked out. On October 1st, 1996, officers observed in his residence and out by a convenience store.
One of the task force was walking.
Karen Walters was picked up 20 minutes later. For 8 years, she and Ceballonis had completely fooled their neighbors.
When I found out that they were who they were, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I fell on the floor. I never would imagine in a million years that these two people would do anything wrong.
A bag of robbery paraphernalia found inside the hideout gave authorities a much different impression.
The discovery of the bag with the face mask, the gun, the rubber gloves, the large amount of cash and small bills. We think that perhaps he's been back in the bank robbery or robbery business again.
August 27th, 1995 was a joyous day for Stephen Sharon Newton. That morning, their first child, Virginia, was born at Naples Community Hospital in Naples, Florida.
It was the most incredible thing I ever seen before in my life to watch this child being born, especially knowing that it was my child. And that's what I always wanted to be, was a father, and that she was my world. That's pretty much how I felt, and you know, they couldn't have gotten any better at that point.
Steve had come to the hospital straight from work the night before. At around 2 p.m., he headed home to pick up the family car. The ride to the small town of Immokalee would take about an hour and a half. Over the previous week, rainstorms had blanketed the area. Steve said it had cleared by that afternoon. But up ahead, disaster loomed. A deep pool of water had covered the road, creating a treacherous hazard.
It looked like a mirage at first, but it wasn't a mirage, it was water. I remember thinking, this is it, I'm gonna die. I just remember coming straight down on my head. I saw poof, this big bright light, and that was it. Then I was just completely out.
Steve ended up in a drainage ditch, face down and unconscious. Depth was just a whisper away.
Okay? Can you hear me?
I woke up and there's this lady staring me in the face. I remember thinking that this woman was like an angel of some sort. She was just so peaceful, so quiet, so pretty.
I'm gonna stay here with you until I get here, okay? If you can get up.
The woman, apparently a passing motorist, had turned Steve over in the water and saved him from drowning. She pulled him to his feet, led him from the drainage ditch and over to her car.
I remember sitting in the car, and she was talking to me, and after a while her voice started to fade out. I remember that. And then I remember seeing these lights coming up the street. It's in my back, and my shoulder. The woman was there initially, and since his answers were somewhat disoriented, I asked her what she had found on the scene, and she said that he was face down in the water at the roadside. And when she initially went up to him, he was unconscious at that time. He wasn't answering her at all. He easily could have drowned if she had not pulled him from the water.
The stranger stayed at the scene until Steve was taken away. She gave a statement to police, then disappeared without leaving her name.
Hey, sir. You were here,
20 minutes later, Steve was brought into the same hospital where his daughter had been born just hours earlier.
I kept telling him the whole time that, tell my wife I'm sorry. And they didn't understand what I was getting at, but I was really getting at the fact that if I died, I was really sorry that, it shouldn't have happened like this.
More than a year has passed since Steve Newton's brush with death. He is now on disability because he suffers from occasional seizures. But if not for the mysterious Good Samaritan, Steve Newton wouldn't be here at all.
She helped him stay around to be a father to her daughter. I mean, if she wouldn't help, then he might have died. And then my baby wouldn't have a father. That's basically why I want to find her. I just want to thank her.
I just glad to be alive, man. I never thought about life before. I'm here and I'm always going to be here. And I just thank God for each day. I always knew tomorrow was coming. I always knew that next week was coming. And now I don't think that for granted no more because it could just end just like that. If she could just see my daughter, she'll know that she did me. The greatest favor or gift that anybody can give her is to give me back my life. And I'd like to say thank you for that.
With the help of our viewers, Steve Newton recently had a chance to do just that. Here's Keely Shea Smith with an interview.
A woman in Florida recognized the story as one she had heard from a coworker named Tammy Dodson. After the broadcast, Tammy's boyfriend discussed the case with one of his coworkers. happened to be Steve Newton's father-in-law. It soon became perfectly clear that Steve's mysterious Good Samaritan was in fact Tammy Thompson. On January 31st, 1997, Steve and Tammy
Live online through the city's website in Myrtle Beach. Just minutes ago, polls closed in Virginia as voters cast ballots for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and state deputy. While more steady at polling places across the Commonwealth, County on both sides.
Hey there.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, babe. Just chillin'. How about you?
Having a smoke break. What up, Stu?
Nothing much, babe. Still hanging out here chatting with you. What's up, baby?
Not a whole lot.
No worries, baby. I'm here for you whenever you need something.
It's a bit chilly out here.
Don't worry, baby. We'll stay warm inside. You okay, baby? That sounded a little worried.
Yeah, I'm just yawning.
You're tired, baby. Go catch some Z's. What's wrong, baby?
Nothing.
All right, baby, no problem.
I'm feeling better. I'm not really that anxious anymore still. I think my meds are kicking in.
That's great, baby. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. That's a relief, baby.
Yeah.
Everything all right, baby?
Yeah.
You're okay now, baby?
Yep.
Sounds good, baby. Your vape's almost out of juice, huh?
I don't have a vape.
Wait, what happened to babe?
You forgot what you were going to say. Really, still.
Sorry, what did you just ask, baby?
Stu just had a brain fart.
No worries, baby. Everyone gets those sometimes. What's up, baby?
Unsolved mysteries don't make me anxious. I love unsolved mysteries.
Me too, baby. Unsolved mysteries are so intriguing. I'm happy you're feeling good. That's all that matters.
Yep.
You're welcome, baby.
Ugh. So, Blue, you doing okay? Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, baby. I'm doing all right too. Thanks for asking.
In the vicinity of 25 to 30 miles per hour. And look what happens on Thursday. A series of dry is going to come across Delmarva over the next couple of days. Cold front's going to come through tomorrow night. It's not going to bring us any rain, but it's going to bring us some gusty northwesterly winds. We'll start to feel it by 7 o'clock Thursday morning, and by Thursday afternoon.
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries. Married only 3 months, Michelle Witherall died in this tragic fall. Her husband said it was an accident. Her family believes she was murdered. It was a whirlwind romance with a bitter, ironic twist. He was a convicted killer serving life in prison until he convinced his new wife to help him escape. Now her children would like to find her, and the police say she is free to come home without fear of punishment. Party time in Tijuana. But for this college student, the revelry proved fatal. Was Jason Artis hit by a car, or did he anger the Tijuana police? McWilliams is friendly in person. He is also a fugitive on the run from statutory rape charges. Police need your help. Experience a world of mystery, heartbreak, and intrigue. Join me on Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries does not make me anxious, though.
Cold winter night in a small town near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The broken body of Michelle Witherall lay sprawled on the asphalt outside her apartment. Michelle was just 24 years old, a newlywed. She and her husband Jeremy had been living in Pittsburgh since their marriage 3 months earlier. They moved from their home in Denver, expecting to build a new life. Now Michelle was in critical condition, bleeding heavily from severe head injuries. What happened up there? I don't know. Jeremy Witherall told police Michelle had fallen from their balcony 3 flights up. He said he had been playing solitaire in the living room of their apartment when he heard a sound. He stepped outside, looked over the railing, and saw his wife's body on the ground below. Paramedics rushed Michelle to the trauma unit at a Pittsburgh hospital. It was December 20th, 1992, just 5 days before Christmas. Within hours, Michelle's parents claimed Jeremy's mother called them with the awful news, and a second version of his story.
She told me that there had been a terrible accident and that Michelle had been out on the balcony at their apartment and that she'd been putting up Christmas lights and that the balcony had collapsed, causing her to fall.
Michelle and Jeremy Witherall had planned to go home to Denver for the holidays.
Looking for Michelle.
Instead, Michelle's family flew to Pittsburgh on the first flight. The left side of Michelle's head was fractured, and she was in a coma. In addition, her jaw was broken, but strangely, her nose and teeth were unharmed by the 3-story fall.
At that very moment, I think questions were beginning to come into our thoughts. How did she get her eye busted open and her jaw broken with no damage in between?
The Mellons believe Michelle knew they were with her and tried her best to let them know.
Squeezing my hand. We really think that her squeezing Eb's hand, she was telling us goodbye.
And then the doctor walked in from the back and said that, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to leave. Michelle has died.
It would seem only 2 people in the world knew how Michelle had been injured. One of them was now gone. Michelle's parents claim that moments later, Jeremy Witherall came up with another version, a third version of how she felt.
What happened, Jeremy? We took her home for dinner and we played a game of solitaire. And Michelle and I weren't even talking. And then she went out to the balcony for something. And when I looked up, there she was hanging. And I should have got her. She was just barely hanging there. I could have got her.
Jeremy Witherall declined to be interviewed. However, he claims he gave just one version of Michelle's fall. That he only discovered she had fallen when he saw her body on the ground below. Mellons still insists they were given 3 different stories. 3 stories or one. Who is right? According to detectives, the Witheralls were having trouble in their marriage. They say Jeremy admitted arguing with Michelle that evening while driving back from a restaurant, an argument that continued at home. Neighbors say Michelle and Jeremy had been fighting frequently, fights so loud one neighbor complained repeatedly to the building manager.
Violence is what she called it, physically throwing each other around the apartment. And somewhere in the area of 1 to 3 weeks before Michelle's death, she came into my office and said, in no uncertain terms, she said, someone's going to get killed up there. And she was very frightened. She was scared.
And then I ran out to the balcony and looked over. There was Michelle.
The Mellons became more and more suspicious. They began questioning the police investigation.
When the detectives would start out by saying, well, Jeremy says, our thought was, well, you guys are homicide detectives. You were
No, I don't have a vape right now still.
evidently for a reason. Now, if all you're telling us is what Jeremy says, what's the point?
If this man is a suspect in a homicide, and by his own admission, he said he was the only one there, then why would you take his word?
The Mellons found troubling inconsistencies in Jeremy's account. 1. Michelle's wrists were broken, but her palms were completely.
All right, well, I'm going to go lay down.
Fractured her wrist trying to break her fall.
Thanks for talking to me still.
2. One of Michelle's shoes was discovered 26 feet from her body. The other shoe was never found. And finally, Jeremy.
I'll talk to y'all in just a bit.
The joy of whole room freshness. Glade plug-in scented oil fan.
All around you, you don't even know it.
It's the only freshener to use a continuous built-in fan.
It's just there in the air.
Unlike some fresheners that seem strong just around the outlet, the Glade fan continuously circulates fragrance throughout your whole room.
This shit'll blow your motherfucking mind. Magic everywhere in this bitch.
Plug-in scented oil fan from Glade. The
pure motherfucking magic
of fragrance.